is new.
和平在现在。La paz es ahora.
Shalom עכשיו.
Kapayapaan ay ngayon.ขอให้มีแต่ความสงบสุข
Мир – це зараз.
Most van a béke.
Friede ist jetzt.
和平在現在。
Pokój teraz tutaj.
السلام اللحظة.
A paz é agora.
Barış şimdi.
Jam sejahtera.
Bây giờ hòa bình.
Sol al-an.
La pace è adesso.
Peace is now.
Welcome to the Napa Valley Center for Spiritual Living. We are a vibrant, inclusive, and spiritual community that seeks to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and see God in all people and in all faiths. We believe the work we do in prayer and in the community creates a world that works for all cultures, races, orientations, and faiths. For over 60 years, we have practiced thinking globally and acting locally to help awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. Annually, hundreds of people actively participate in our services, classes, events, and in our Spanish-speaking ministry. And we are training the next generation of spiritual leadership in our ministerial school. In the last few years, because of apparent divisions politically and socially, and because of threats to basic human rights, we have magnified our application of Science of Mind principles with engagement and compassion in action in the greater Napa Valley community. Our members have participated in women's marches, pride events, and we have hosted speakers on racial issues. We have empowered and mentored diverse leaders in our community and given scholarships to diverse ministerial students. We have donated over 4,000 pounds of food to our local food bank. Our spiritual director, Reverend Jay Lang, has facilitated an interfaith leadership group to hold public prayer vigils and 9/11 commemorations in participation with Jews, Muslims, and Christians. We have fostered the creation of a beloved community in the larger Napa Valley area by honoring community heroes at events and tithing to and partnering with a dozen different nonprofits that share our vision. Together, we've created a Martin Luther King Day of Service where over 1,200 participated in community service annually. The leadership of our parent organization, the Centers for Spiritual Living, headquartered in Golden, Colorado, recognized our community for all of the outstanding, compassionate work we've been doing over the last few years with the 2022 Meritorious Community Award. As we move forward to do this work of the heart, to awaken the world to its spiritual magnificence, will you join us as we continue to ascend to new heights and create a world that works for everyone?
Good morning, Napa Valley. Such a lovely, sleepy little morning, cloudy a little bit. It was supposed to rain, but it's been perfect weather lately. So glad you're with us today. Such a beautiful day to be here in community. And like always, we're going to start with a little music here. Bodhi Starwater here. Let's welcome Bodhi.
Good morning. Are we on? Good morning. Hello. The breath of God. This little chant that I wrote. I was down in Santa Barbara. The breath of God is breathing through me. Feel it breathing through my whole being. The breath of God is breathing through me, and I feel it purify my soul, and I feel it purify my soul. Now the voice of God is singing through me. The voice of God is singing through me. Feel it singing through my whole being. The voice of God is singing through me, and I feel it purify my soul. Feel it purify my soul. Now the Word of God is praying through me. The Word of God Feel it purify my soul.
Thank you, Bodhi. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, welcome everybody today. If this happens to be your first time here, a special welcome to you. And just a welcome to all the people online and all those who are here today as part of our community. It's so good to have everybody gathered today on this beautiful day. We like to start with our vision and mission statement. If you'll look on the screen and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. A good affirmation for us, and it is a goal. Sometimes we are not as humanly ourselves. We don't always loving everybody unconditionally, but is what we seek to do, and we recommit to that and to live intentionally, love unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. So glorious affirmation today. So today is Memorial Day. It's unusual probably that you don't used to seeing a flag in our community, but I want to honor people, all people who served, but especially those people who have lost a life either directly or indirectly by serving. I'm just curious in terms of here, is anybody, could you raise your hand if you've served in the military in any way? So Harris, what service? Naval Reserve. And has anybody lost somebody who was serving, a relative or a close friend you have?
My grandfather served in World War I. My dad served in World War II.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Carla. Wow. Wow. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Dale. In World War, your grandfather. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. 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 Yes, Mary. All right. Yes, Harris. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So for those of you online, you can't hear these, but people are just sharing their relatives, their family members, fathers, grandfathers, great-grandfathers that served in the military. Yes. Good. Yeah. Yeah. It's good. He did. Yeah. Yeah. Marv. Yeah, I do too. I have ancestors that were in the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. Yeah. 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 I think Vietnam was one that was in our age group, our peer group, and some people that came back were not the same. And that was scary for us to see what war does to people. So we know that. So I just in prayer and in blessing, I'm just grateful for the service that we separate our feelings about war, about maybe a particular war, or about war in general, and we are grateful for those people who have served. And knowing that Spirit continues to protect those who are in service right now around the world, for any country and every country. Blessings be. This is also, I wanted to show you this picture we took last week. It was fun how the oak tree sort of framed it. Here's a closer view of it. But it's a great picture. It's on our website now. I just thought it's great. Yeah. This is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and it's great to consider the different contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. What's interesting about this, because we've been talking about movies this month a little bit because of the theme about May the Divine Force be within us, and talking about Star Wars and other movies, that Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders were for many, many years were in very stereotyped roles. Just like many minorities were, blacks and Latinas, that were in kind of, and just this year, there's really been a breakout year, including the Everything, Everywhere, All at Once movie, and then also Iam, if you're a follower of American Idol, Iam Tangi won the American Idol, and really featured the Hawaiian culture in such a glorious way, and was honored rather than seeing it as something, a one-off kind of music was seen as a mainstream. To be able to win American Idol, it was accepted by so many people. So I'm so glad to see we're moving away from those stereotypes for all races and cultures that were open, and genders, the role of women in movies as well. So I'm grateful for that. And then I'll let you know about something happening in the community this week. I know I've talked about the anti-Semitism here in Napa, and there's going to be a meeting in the Congregation Beth Shalom on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. just to talk about that, about the concerns people have about anti-Semitism in Napa. Possibly move towards what we can do about it, but just more about an information. And it's going to be hosted by Steve Potter, our city manager. So that's at 6 p.m. at Congregation Beth Shalom on Wednesday. So encourage us to show up. I know that you know that I, along with the Interfaith Group, wrote a letter to the editor supporting Jews in our community, that they don't deserve to be treated like that, and we stand strong with our Jewish siblings, family, and friends in support of them. And this is just another way to do that. So if you're available to come to this, it'd be great to have some support for them at Congregation Beth Shalom on Elm Street. And then coming up in July, another community event is Crush MS. We collaborate with this nonprofit. The people that started it are part of our community, plus it's just a good cause. So we provide volunteers, we attend it by buying tickets, and at the end of this month, at the end of May, the tickets go up in price. So I encourage you to get your tickets this month while you can, and Karen Reed is not here this morning, but she is a person who can help you figure out how to serve. There's still need for more people to serve at that event on July 29th. It's sort of like our Sip and Savor on steroids. So, it's a good day. And lots of people from all over the Northern California come to the event, not just Napa. This Sunday is the last Sunday to get your free books. There's a whole table out there. After today, they're going to the Friends of the Library, I think it's what it's called, the donation site. So get them while you can, because we have too many of them, and we don't need to store them. And if you missed today, you can always find them down at the library. So there you go. But there's lots of books out there. Choose from them. And this lets you know we're here in prayer for you, in resources and availability. That feel free to, there's a website you can sign, Mary can give you, or I can send it to you to sign up for an appointment if you want to meet with me, or to request prayers. Either after the service, we'll be here, practitioners will be here to host prayers for you one-on-one if you're so interested in doing that. Prayer request either in the lobby or online. That it is our great pleasure and privilege to be able to pray for you, that we do on a weekly basis. So thank you for being a part of that, and just know that we're here for you. And now we're going to begin the sacred part of our service. You go first. More often, remember this.
Good morning, my lovely community. Always is an honor to share with you. And continuing with this peaceful environment, I invite you to close your eyes. And if you feel comfortable, you can put your right hand on your heart. And I invite you to breathe deeply. And invite you just feel the music and listen the music. Get in connection with yourself, with God. Just feel the beating of your heart. And I recognize the power, the love, the infinite possibilities, the present. And I know it is in this dry moment. And I know all of us are one with God. Y es en este momento que reconozco una sola mente, un solo Dios, una sola presencia. Y sé que esa presencia está en todo espacio, lugar, tiempo. Y que estamos unidos a ese Dios. Y simplemente doy gracias en esta mañana por este mensaje, por el servicio, por el aire, el sol. Y como sé que todo es bueno y muy bueno, juntos decimos, and so it is. Amen. Oh, wow. What a great morning. So, by the theme of this month, it is the light within the darkness. And I was thinking about this topic, and what I remember is that everything I learned about darkness, it was bad. I cannot make mistakes, I cannot, my behavior cannot be wrong. Always I cannot say anything wrong. Or my mom, you always she used to say me, if I do something wrong, I will be in the darkness, and I'm not gonna be a good child for God. So, but what science of mind is teaching me, how important it is the darkness in my life. Because if I wouldn't pass for that moment on the dark, I wouldn't be part of the light. I couldn't be part of the light. And I was thinking how to combine the sides of my life and make friends, reconciliation, each another, to understand that nothing is wrong with my mistakes. Because sometimes we punish so much ourselves, when we do something out of the place, or when we say something out of the place, we feel so bad. So, and I was thinking in that, and I said, actually, the darkness bring us. I don't want to say that all of us are here for that reason, but when you are on the dark spot, you're looking for the light. And I think that's why we are here, to continuing growing our light and feeling better with ourselves and accepting ourselves the way we are. So that's the invitation today. Combine our two sizes in life and make a friends and walk through with this shadow and light. So thank you so much.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm sitting like a Buddha on the side of a hill, getting high without a pill. That's the way it is. I practice yoga in the early morning, and every day I am reborn. That's the way it is. Sitting on a rock. Sorry. My mistakes. I'm sitting on a rock, my hands are holding my chin, thinking about this mess I'm in. That's the way it is. I'm sitting like a Buddha on the side of a hill, getting high without a pill. That's the way. I forgive you. Ooh. Live and let live true. Whoa, whoa. I forgive me. Yeah, yeah. Live and let live free. Hey, hey, hey. I'm so glad I got out of this mess. No place to live for a permanent address. That's the way it is. So That's the way it is. And that's what the Buddha would say. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. That's the way it is. Sitting like a Buddha on the side of a hill, getting high without a pill. That's the way it is. It's always
I love that song. Is that your original? Yeah. I love it. I'm going to take that with me. Sitting on like a Buddha on a hill. Getting high without a pill. Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bodhi. So good to be here. Imelda, thank you for that beautiful prayer and the beautiful reflection there. Just thank you so much. So this month we've been talking about May the Force be within us and talking about the light and the darkness that you were talking about, because that's such a theme of Star Wars that we've been alluding to during this time. And today we're wrapping that conversation up with the title of Lights, Camera, Action. The statement that's made by directors when they're ready to start shooting a film to make sure everything's ready. I was reflecting this week about the first movie I ever saw, which my mom took my older brother and sister and myself to see The Sound of Music. Now, really, it was about my mom wanting to hear Julie Andrews, I'm sure. But I was captivated by the opening scenes when she's up on that hill singing, and the hills are alive with the sound of music. And the whole movie captivated me because it was an exciting. First of all, I like music, so I still like musicals. So it's fun to hear the music, but also the director did such a great job of interweaving relationships and that whole seeking we do for love as well as freedom and growth and deeper connection. And the character of Maria, who felt limited and then found her freedom, found the love, and then also helped her family, what would eventually be her stepchildren and her husband, to find freedom away from the regime of the Nazis. So it was I just loved it, and ever since then I've been captivated by movies that are in the theater because of the big screen. And kind of curious about, if you just want to name what was your, and for people online, if you could put it in the chat, what was the first movie you saw in the theater? What was it? Say it again. Ten Commandments. Peter Pan. Mary Poppins. That's a great one. I saw that one too. Fantasia. I can't, what? So I think the difference between, although the television we have at home is convenient, there's nothing more spectacular than seeing a movie on the big screen and the sound and being captivated. And I know at home watching a movie, half the time I'm pausing it halfway through and doing other things while I'm doing it. But to be so absorbed by that, I think it's just amazing. And Star Wars we've been talking about, or Michelle and I went to go see Little Mermaid. That may be a funny movie you think that I wouldn't go see, but I love musicals. And I didn't see the original cartoon version of Little Mermaid until just a few years ago, because I raised sons and we didn't want to go to Little Mermaid, But I loved it so much that I wanted to see the live action one of it in the theaters, and it was just delightful. And they're really these universal themes of liberation and love and realization. You have the protagonist that is scripted to grow and change and evolve and you're like right with them, and they're sometimes fighting against their challenges, whether it's another person or their own internal challenges. It's just fun to be a part of that. And what I know about all that is that this is a real metaphor for our own lives, that we are the director of our own film. And that which is within us, our consciousness, there's an outpicturing of that, of our consciousness, what we think in the world. So it's like a film that's being made right before our eyes, but it's important that the film itself is not, that's just the effect. It's the process of creating that it comes from our consciousness that is the viewing. It's almost like the real projector, the reel that comes out, it projects out this life that's being created, and it's constant. It's interesting when people talk about the way movies are made, so many of what are known lines from movies often are not scripted. They're spontaneously said because they're in the moment. Like in Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat. That was not a scripted line. But that's the one we remember, right? I think we're going to need a bigger boat. And so much of life is not, we want to follow script, right? We want the script that we're going to follow. Here it is. We're going to do this, then we're going to do this, and they're going to say that, and then I'm going to say this, and then I'm ready to tell them. Well, life doesn't work like that, does it? It's in the moment we are, in these conversations we have, in these moments we have. We know the experience. So as the director, they're trying to create an experience for us. I don't know if you had the chance to see the Oscar-winning movie this year, the Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. But I don't know about you, but I left going, huh? And that was the intention of the directors. Because what they were saying is that too often we're predicting what life is going to be or what a movie is. We have in our mind that, okay, there's 30 minutes of this movie left. That means that the worst thing's going to happen and that it's going to turn out perfectly at the end. Well, I don't know about you, but life doesn't really work that way. I don't know why we expect a movie to be that way. But that's what they said. They wanted to remove us from the intellect where we're always figuring out things and assuming things and opinions about things. It's like, hey, we're in Napa Valley, right? So you have a glass of wine and there's all this thing. Oh, it's a little bit of blueberry and a little bit of this and that. And this is a fine wine. And we're just so mentally engaged in the world. And that movie, I appreciated it. The first time I saw it, I haven't seen it again, but I've just reflected over time what was intended for that. One thing that I did appreciate at the time, though, was about kindness and how kindness matters. And even if our life is chaos or there might be multiple universes happening, that we can still find kindness and compassion for each other. That we can't just letting go of the intellect and being present with each other. That's so important. So my question for you today is that, are you the director of your life? Even if things don't turn out exactly the way you think they might, you're seeking an experience. And are you the director of that? Or are you letting other people call the shots in your life? Are you too dependent on what people think, their reactions, whether they're not acting in the way you think they should be? Do our words, intentions, and action reflect the experience that we're wanting to create? So it is about lights, camera, and action. Wayne Dyer says that you must become the producer, director, and actor in the unfolding story of your life. So let's start with this idea of lights. So what we know about light, we've been talking about it this month, and really it's something we talk about quite often. That we know that we have an inner light that's within us, that's always there. And we first seek that light within us to recognize that. We also know that light and dark coexist in different ways. Imelda did a great job of talking about that and the value of darkness. There's a great story that I often tell, and I'm sure you've heard it, but it's one that keeps coming on my mind about the guy who lost his keys, and he was out looking, and somebody came along, can I help you? And he goes, yeah, I lost my keys. And they're looking under the lamp, and it's pitch black outside, and they're looking around under the light, and the passerby said, where did you lose them? I said, oh, over there in the dark, but it's too dark over there, I can't see. So too often we don't want to go into that darkness, to the discomfort, but that's where the keys are, the keys to life, that sometimes we have to dive into what is uncomfortable, to look at our own part in things, to look at the judgments we have of other people that keep us from coming to a greater realization of things. To do the work that we are being asked to do. Joseph Campbell often talked about the heroine journey, that there's challenges and things to move through, to gain, tools to gain, but we can't do it unless we go through that journey. And in movies, there's the protagonist that always has challenges, whether it's an action movie or romance or comedy, there's always some sort of challenge to go through. And what I appreciate, I've been reading Emerson a lot lately, and I just love the different things, his quotes. He just seems, he wrote this stuff 150 years ago, 200 years ago, and just, it's amazing how it applies to our current life. So he said, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. He said that, the use of substances, and back then opium was a big deal, now it's, alcohol or whatever, is a counterfeit for an oracle genius, a dangerous attraction for people. Also the aid of wild passions like gaming and war, to ape in some manner the flames and generosities of the heart. What he's saying is that we can fake it, but we're never going to make it if we're faking it. The actors and actresses I appreciate more in movies are the ones that are just real. They're really real, and they speak from the heart. They're acting from the heart rather than doing it as a rote exercise that they've memorized. There's something engaging in the way they act and the way they are. It's sometimes they don't even need to say anything at all, but they're present. And you can tell the Meryl Streeps and the Dustin Hoffmans, the Tom Hanks kind of characters that are just so bigger than life on the screen. And it has to do with the heart they come from. And I think this is about our own heart that opens up. Brene Brown uses the phrase daring greatly. And I love that because as we show up, and we may need to move through our darkness to come to the truth, but we are willing to dare greatly. She got the phrase from Teddy Roosevelt. Now, Teddy Roosevelt is not a president that I would normally look at quotes for because, he's a rough rider, carried a big stick as the stories I heard as a kid, not one that I would necessarily align with. But she quotes him as a particular speech he gave that was called A Citizen in the Republic. And he said, the credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, but because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But they who actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends themselves in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, who at worst, if they fail, at least fails while daring greatly. That they're willing to give it a try, to do the work necessary, to move through this challenges we have in life. Because in fact, in these challenges, we can find the keys to greater life, a life of our choosing, Because in the darkness, we find those things that we maybe were hiding from. But in fact, they were a strength of ours, not a weakness, not something to be embarrassed by or shamed about. Marianne Williamson, I love what her quote about our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Of our deepest fears, we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So now that we have the light, let's go to the camera. Camera, point at where we want to go. Our intention, calling the shots. Remember that the movie is an effect of our consciousness, but it is the creation as we go that we create. We also know that when we see a movie, we have an experience of it. So it's a mirror back to us because we relate to certain characters. We learn from characters what they might do, or they inspire us sometimes. And writers and directors and producers, they start with a vision, an idea, an inner experience they want to create. Deepak Chopra said that we live in a field of infinite possibilities and potential. Think of, so music has, what is it, with the sharps and things, about 10 notes? 12 notes. And every day, dozens of songs, hundreds of songs are created with those same 12 notes. And an amazing music. You think maybe, and a film is the same way, with words, with the same kind of things. And if you look at a movie at the end, I don't know if you stayed long enough to watch all the credits, but the credits could take like 5 minutes to get through them all. I was going, what did all these people do? All these people were needed to create this movie? This is our community too, that together we have different roles. We can't all be up on this stage talking or behind the piano singing. We have different roles in different ways, and we're called to different things. Robert Wise, who was the director of Sound of Music, said we must have a clear vision for the film, but we must also be open to collaboration and willing to adapt to new ideas and discovery along the way. Sofia Coppola says directing is about finding the balance between control and creativity, planning and spontaneity. Both of those ideas, that we have this idea and it doesn't always work out exactly the way we want to, but it always works out for our good, that there's good there that we can bring forth and be. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do not be too timid or squeamish about your actions. All life is an experiment. The more experiments you make, the better. So if you think about this idea that life is a great experiment. I mean, and I don't know if you're a fan of Queen Charlotte, the Netflix show, but I've been enjoying that. And they talk about the great experiment in there. By the way, it's not historically accurate at all. There's some historical things. But there, if you haven't watched it, the great experiment is about integrating the English Anglo culture with a different gene line, possibly for the purpose of there's a history of mental illness in the royal line, and so they're introducing a new gene, but they're of a different race, they're black. And so the mixture, and I just think about how that's a metaphor that we are in a great experiment right now in life, and an integration in new ways of making sure this world works for everyone. Johanna Macy, who's an environmental activist and Buddhist, she has an amazing idea about calling this the great turning that we're doing. And here's a movie, a film clip of her now.
All the wise ones tell us that. But it's that mind batch of uncertainty where we come alive to our truest power. This is the biggest bite out of the tree of knowledge in 5,000 years. It's a recognition that our planet is a living system, and we belong to it. Like cells piece of his work, stone, twig, now finding it hitched to everything else in creation. Now is emerging a fundamental change, like green shoots coming through the rubble of a dysfunctional civilization. The greatest, largest social movement in human history. As people acting in defense of life, wake up to the grandeur of who they really are. Look into the eyes of any being you can see. Learn this great mystery.
Just breathe that in. We're in this great mystery. And we are part of this great turning. No, we are not alone. We are not the only community part of this great, but we are part of this great turning. I love the metaphor about the green shoots coming through the dysfunction of our society. We are part of this. And we want to invite more people, not only to this community, but more communities to do this work together. And shifting this planet and knowing the basis of this faith and the basis of many faiths is that we are all connected. Everything, anything we do has an effect on the world. So let's be intentional about what we do. Eckhart Tolle in his book A New Earth said, it's not what you do, but it's how you do what you do. So that we are conscious in our being, that we are intentional in our living, and that which we're creating is determined by our state of consciousness. So we have the lights, we have the camera, and now we have action, right? The cameras are rolling, the lights are on, and we are creating this, that we are willing to dare greatly. The problem sometimes comes, the challenge is that there are people out there that have opinions about us or what we're doing, just like a movie that everybody's a critic, right? Teddy Roosevelt continued his quote about daring greatly to say, it's not the critic who counts, not the person who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena daring greatly, and never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And Brene Brown uses this quote to talk about people that are a million cheap seats in the world filled with people who will never be brave enough to live their own lives, but they're willing to criticize. Somebody was talking, obviously this is Bottle Rock. I appreciate the economic impact on Napa, but I'm glad it's not every weekend we have this many people in town. And Lizzo was here last night, and so we were talking about Lizzo a little bit, and she is unapologetic about herself. People online and verbally body shame her, and she doesn't care, or doesn't seem to care. You know, people... That's so sad. I'm going to do this song twice. You were there then. No, you heard about it. Yeah. And it's, you know, the truth is, you know, people criticize her for winning all these awards. She goes, well, I'm winning the awards, right? And she's got great music. It's fun to listen to her. She's obviously passionate, enthusiastic, and that's what we want to respond to. And it's originally written by Keith Kent, but also made popular by Mother Teresa, a poem that talks about people are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. In Kent's first edition of the poem, he said, love them anyway. Mother Teresa's version said, forgive them anyway. I like both of them. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. You may spend years building something someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the best you have anyway. And in the end, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. And yes, you do things. It's not like people don't matter. Because we can do more together, but we don't give others that power to call the shots in our lives. Meryl Streep, who I consider, and many people consider her one of the best actresses of all time, was once rejected for a part in the movie King Kong because she was told she was too ugly for the part. Well, now today she's, I said, is acclaimed as one of the best actresses, won 3 Academy Awards, and is just going, well, I'm doing okay, you know. And I think we can all do our part in social activism and community building and loving others to stand up against oppression, criticism, and stand for what is right, and that all people belong and have a place in this world. I heard about a guy in Colorado who does fly fishing, and it may seem like it's an innocent thing, but he's intentionally going up certain rivers that are private land because he is claiming that the river is not privately owned. And so he is a lawsuit saying that it's a place of commerce and that it should be regulated by the state government because water is a huge issue, obviously, in Colorado and Arizona and California. And so he's just doing his part fishing. But he knows exactly what he's doing. He's been shot at and rocks thrown at him and things. And he's clear that we need to do this to protect our rivers. And we know that this idea that kindness matters in everything we do. That compassion and love and our intentionality, knowing this consciousness is there. And also to support our fellows, brothers and sisters on this planet. I have another little clip. You've probably seen this. This came out of a public commercial that was on television, but it's cute and it just reminds me.
You're a champion. You're not a quitter. Quitters don't do what you're supposed to. Champions do. And you're a star. And you shine. That's what you do. That's what you do every day.
So I want to let you know you are a star. And you shine every day. And we need to go within to remember that, to find the light within. To point our consciousness in the direction of what we are creating. And then we act in the world in a way of kindness and love, no matter what people tell us. No matter. Let's go to prayer. What I know right now is we are connected with the divine in all ways, that we are this love, that everything we are, every cell of our being is connected to all that is. And in this connection, we know Spirit through us is this love. That we can allow Spirit to direct us towards that which is the highest and best. The place to serve, the place to be, the kindness that someone may need. The positive affirmation. Allowing a greater truth to come through us. We realize this truth. And we know Spirit through us allows us this realization that if we feel like we're in a dark place now, we know the light is there, and it sparks this truth within us. We realize this, for Spirit is this knowingness within us, and we're grateful for this now and always. As we release this word into the law, knowing it is so already. We're so grateful for this. And together we say, and so it is.
Tried so long to do things my way. It gets me in trouble most every day. Now I feel ready to write a new play. If you feel it too, let me hear you say, I'm ready to let go. Think so? I'm ready to let go. And I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of Spirit. Into the arms of Spirit. Well, I've been on this ride for oh so many years. All the rough water on this river of tears. Thinking I can do it myself, I can push through the fears. Now when I surrender, I see it's all smoke and mirrors. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go, yeah. And I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of Spirit. Into the arms of Spirit. Well, it seems like forever that I've been holding on, hoping for things to get better with each new dawn. Well, the years rolled by, it took some time for me to know the only way to get there, I have to let go. You ready? I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to let go. And I'm ready to let go. Into the arms of Spirit. Can you sing that with me? Into the arms of Spirit. 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 Just feel those arms enfolding you, encircling your whole being. Into the arms of Spirit. Into the arms of Spirit.
Thank you. This is a time in our service we invite you to be part of the law of circulation. If we could have our ushers come forward, please. We appreciate your support financially because it allows us to continue to do this work, to fulfill our vision and our mission, and do the work out into the world with partners like Crush MS and many others that we are continuing to partner with. There are many ways to share this abundance with us. There's online donations you can do, there's texting, or there's also checks that you can give or bill pay. Whatever those gifts that you've given either earlier in this month or today, if you could just put your hand over your heart, represent them, or if the actual donation, and repeat with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is.
That was for you, Lon.
First time, if you're willing to raise your hand or put it into the chat there, we appreciate it. Anybody here for the first time willing to raise your hand? All right. Well, I appreciate everybody being here today. We have a blessing for those online and those here in the room. If you'll look up on the screen and repeat with me. We bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community, and so it is. We have good coffee and snacks out there, lots of books to give away. Come join us out there. We just wish you a blessed weekend, and I know it's probably a good idea to avoid downtown for the rest of the day, but after that we get our Napa back. So let's do can the practitioners come up to the front, please? We have a practitioner, that's fine, that's enough for today. If you so want a prayer with Imelda, then please stay in the sanctuary after the service. And let's take conversation out into the courtyard for everybody else. But know that we do have prayer requests you can fill out in the lobby as well. So let's all stand for the community affirmation. And then we have our new closing song. We shortened it up a little bit, so Bodhi's going to sing us through that after this. So repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. I am led by Spirit. I am guided by wisdom. I am protected by love. I am here to be a blessing. I am so grateful. And so it is.
Love be with you. Make
God be with you and all around you. Have a great Sunday.